Business plans for dummies. I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. Super easy. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights. All right, so if you're thinking about doing a business plan, and you're looking up for business plans for dummies, I'm guessing this isn't for your Wharton MBA. Great, because we're actually going to build one that's practical and valuable that'll help you. Super easy to do. So I started my first of 16 companies when I was 19. I've worked with hundreds of companies all over the world. It has never, ever been easier and safer to build your business and then safely launch it. So I wrote a book, best-selling book, on how to do this, as well as, and it's not like, oh, you should, it is very, very specific. Actually, spoiler alert, when you go through and do the book, or if you go to aspiringsolopreneur.com, we've got a course. It actually asks you all the questions that you need to be asking and how to build the whole thing all the way through. And we're going to talk about that. But when it comes to building your business plan, part of the motivations are, it should be, the biggest motivation for you should be, is this going to be a tool I can use that helps me be clear on whether I'm going to be successful? Is this a good business or not? If you go through a business plan and you get to the end and you're like, I'm not really sure, don't do it. That's huge success. 50% of all small businesses fail because people think they have to jump on stuff. If your gut says don't do it, then don't do it. But if it ends up being a no-brainer, and I'll tell you how to get there, then do it. So on this channel, we've got dozens and dozens of videos that talk about all these different things when it comes to building the business. And we're gonna go through the 5 primary steps. What's it take for you to build a great business plan that's gonna help you know without a shadow of a doubt you're super successful? So the first thing is, make sure that you clarify your motivations. Now what I mean by this, and there's a tool called our balance wheel, you can go again to the Aspiring Solopreneur site and download it for free. But the intention here is, rather than building a business and try and make your life fit with the business, I would encourage that you think about, what is my life? What do I want my life to look like? What are the things I absolutely love doing? And then how can you incorporate your business into your life? The reason I do this, and I do this with high-end public CEOs when I'm doing my coaching, is if you're doing something that you genuinely love and you have a life that's holistically healthy across the board, you are going to be better at things and you're going to be more successful than you ever dreamed. So the first thing is for you to clearly define, what does success look like for you and what are your motivations? Why are we doing this? If it's only about money, unless you're a drug dealer or you work at Goldman Sachs, you're probably, it's not going to be the case. There's going to be other motivations in why you're doing these things, and having a clear, candid conversation with yourself will help. Next, start to clarify and define what is the product or service you're doing. And again, we talk about this in other videos and and in the book and on the workshop or on the course. And it helps you to define what is going to be your unique niche. Now, if you're in one industry and you just want to jump and go do something completely different, maybe that works. Or maybe you're in that industry that you're in now and you love the industry, but you hate aspects of your current job. Let's be clear about what that is. How do we do those things and what are those different things? And then maybe how can we integrate some of the special interests that you may already have so that you really love doing what you're doing. The next thing is, once you've done this, you're going to go through and actually vet it and talk with other people about it. You're going to research what is that area. And I give you the specific questions on how you approach people who are maybe already doing something similar to what you're doing. And you never know, out of this, you may end up even coming up with a potential subcontract that you could work, or maybe even find other people that are looking specifically right now to get started. And they'd be willing to hire you if you were able to offer that product. We haven't jumped yet, but it gives you that opportunity. In the business plan, you're outlining all of these things. The next thing is going through and building a team of advisors. Now remember, as the owner of the business, you're 100% accountable for making sure everything gets done. But it doesn't mean that you have to be accountable to know how to do all of it. And there is an army of people out there, other small businesses and solopreneurs, that are likely going to be able to, more than happy to help you, and they'll even give you some of their time up front for free to help you outline and define what are the things you need to be aware of and what's the right structures and how do you handle this. So starting with a small business accountant, how do we figure out what are the type of bookkeeping, what is the compliance, what do I need to factor in for taxes, how much am I looking at for all sorts of other components to make sure I stay legal. One piece. Second, they're likely going to be able to introduce you to a small business attorney that can help you with the right structure. What is the right structure? Is this a sole proprietorship? Is this a sub-S corporation? Is it an LLC? Is it a C Corp? Probably not. But help you define what's the right structure and maybe outline a couple of very simple contracts so that when you get engaged, you have some way to cover your butt. You're also going to be looking for bankers. You're going to be looking for insurance people. You're going to be looking potentially for marketing help. Maybe not. There's other ways to do that. Candidly, I have a hard time with marketing sometimes. So figuring out how you want to do that and who are those people. They're going to create a whole list of questions. It's going to allow you then to go out and figure out all these pieces, and you start filling these pieces out. So I look at a business plan sort of as it starts with a bone structure. And then when you talk with each of these people and you ask questions, you do the research, you're starting to put meat on the bone. It fills it out all the way through. The next thing is once you've done this is once you have that, what are the tools and what's it going to cost, building a budget and figuring out timelines on what's it going to take to actually implement everything that you've already outlined. Again, you haven't jumped. You're still working wherever you're working. You're smoking this out. You're doing this in the evenings or weekends or whatever it is. But it allows you, again, to start figuring out what do I need to look at? How long is it going to take? Do I have the money for this? Are things there? What are the different financing options? And have all that explored. But you've done this and it hasn't cost you a penny yet. And you're going to start really narrowing in on what amazing looks like with this. Now, the last question is once you decide, this is great, I'm ready to pull the trigger. I'm going to encourage you, the fifth step is to go through and genuinely outline a very disciplined schedule for your first 6 months. If this is your first time working for yourself, it's a whole different animal. And you're going to have to be aware that it's easy to slip and slide on some of those things. So how can you create the discipline on these are going to be my specific work hours? You can still go golf in the middle of the day or go watch your kids ballet at practice. Great, whatever those things are. You can, but make sure you're scheduling and you have the discipline around it. What are the metrics you're tracking? If you're working from home, creating discipline and boundaries with the family. When I'm doing this, I'm working. I actually encourage people to dress up when they start, dress up, shower, get ready, show up 10 minutes early. And even if it's at the kitchen table and you're wearing fuzzy slippers, that's fine. But it sets a mindset on how you're doing it. You're creating a mindset and a discipline in those first 6 weeks, first 6 months. And when you do that, you create that plan, that schedule. You're going to go all the way through and you'll be like, oh my God, this is a no-brainer. I would be an idiot not to do this. When you can get to that level, then you know you've got a good business. People say, hey, Kluver, you've started 16 companies, you're a big risk taker. I am not a big risk taker. I'm willing to make a calculated risk, but I want to be very, very close to 100% confident that I'm going to have success. And I've only had one that went bad. So when you follow these steps, if you go and if you want, you can take the course, and the course will actually walk you through each step, all the way through questions that you should be asking, how do you do that? And you can do it as fast as a month or take whatever time you need. But when you do this, you're going to have a much higher likelihood of success. So if you're thinking, business plan for dummies, what do I do? Well, it's not that hard. It's a matter of asking a lot of questions, being curious, filling things out, and then also holding yourself accountable. So if you enjoyed this, please subscribe to this channel, share it, and thank you so very, very much for investing the time and energy to listen to this. If you have questions, please reach out. Keep smiling.